really not. I'm retired. So I'm usually up at 2 in the afternoon. But it's like, it's, it's day the time to come and talk. So again, I am so grateful to be here with you guys. I'm so excited. And the two principles that I've chosen this morning to talk to you about are heaven and freedom. And these are two of the 12 principles. And they talk about heaven. And see, this is a new concept. The old concept that was heaven was a space out there someplace else. And then you went there when you died. The new concept of heaven, and it is embraced by science of mind, is heaven is an internal state. It is with you all the time. And I chose the word freedom because it's your choice. It's my choice to whether we are in heaven or not in any given moment. Old theory was about it wasn't your choice. You either did stuff and you went to heaven or you didn't. And you kind of didn't have any kind of control over that. But I'm saying in this, heaven is optional and freedom is a choice. That we do have a choice to be in heaven or not, again, at any given time. Now, when I was younger, and that wasn't so long ago, no. When I was younger, and it was a long time ago, I rode the trains, and the trains were a little bit different than they are now. You could open the windows because they didn't have air conditioning. You remember? And it had a sign over the window that says, keep your head and hands inside the compartment. Because what would happen if you stuck your head out? You could lose it. What would happen if you stuck your arm out? You could lose it. Tree come up and then half of you is on the road and half of you is in the cabin. So in that analogy, I'm thinking about our lives as they go along. And the last time I was in Visalia, I took the train down. And it's a wonderful ride. For 4 hours, you just get to sit there and vegetate. You look out the window, you burp if you want to, you sleep, you yawn. And things go by as you're looking out the window. The last time I was on the train, I saw a coyote off in the distance roaming around. I saw some we call them dirt devils, whirling around. And guess what happened? I saw them. I was engaged for a minute, and then they were gone. And I was still on the train. Now, in keeping your head and hands inside the window, it is an analogy for our lives as well. We can be in the cabin. There's a choice to be in the cabin. There's a choice to be there in the presence of God, in the awareness of God. And there's a choice to be out there roaming around trying to see what the coyote's doing and getting plummeted by the sand and the dirt devils. But if we're staying in the choice of being aware in the cabin, and in the cabin, which is the analogy for God's grace, God's love, there is everything we possibly could need and have and want to be in peace, to be sustained, to be protected, to be guided. But that's in the cabin. So now we can choose to go out there and have our little egos go around, and we could shoot the coyote or throw water in the dust devil and be out there engaged in something that is less than what we were meant to be on this world, on this planet, and in this, not on this world, but in this walk that we're doing right now. So the choice then shows you, and the response that we get, because I'm telling you, and if I haven't said it before, this is not a mountaintop teaching. And that's from the Right Reverend Dr. Andriette Earl, who's my minister, and she always says, not a mountaintop teaching. I'm dealing with some of the same stuff. Why you think it came up for me to give it to you? Okay. So in that, when we're out there and we choose to step out of the cabin, when we choose to forget our awareness and our closeness with God, when we choose to interact on a different level, we get fear. We get anxiety. We get the common things like, I'd rather be right than peaceful. We get I'm going to control everything in my life. I don't want anybody to have anything. We get the ideas that there's no other way of being except this one way from my perception. And when we start getting those kind of feelings, it's a cue that we're outside of the cabin. We have forgotten our closeness with God. We have forgotten who God is. We have forgotten the idea, the solution to any problem, I always pray, is God. And we can say that is also synonymous with love. Whatever you choose to call God, grass, love, trees, sticks, birds, whatever you choose to call God, it is the same principle of love. Now, there is a practice going on. It's a relatively new. It's 850 years old. Relatively new. Don't you like that? In that case, I'm just a babe. Okay. Relatively new, 850 to 900 years old, and it's called EKAM, EKAM, and it's the oneness movement. And these folks have determined and decided they are going to choose the world and bring into the world that everybody is interconnected. There is no division in anybody. And I decided that that's kind of somehow how you can be thinking about somebody and you say, and they call. And you say, I'm just thinking about you. Well, that's not an accident in terms of our interconnectedness with each other. I can think about you, or you can come to my mind, and I know with almost 100% accuracy and assurity that if you're coming to my mind, you're thinking about me as well. And I understand, I'm not sure, I think this is true, that I heard that the ancient tribes in Africa, that's how they communicated, because they had drums, and sometimes they would use drums and percussion instruments to send messages, over a distance. But they also had their interconnectedness, and they were aware of it, and they used it to think about other people and send messages to other folks through that interconnectedness. So in the oneness movement, they are, and it has a Hindu and a yoga base to it, base, yeah. So in their goal is to get everybody in what they call the beautiful state in the cabin, so to speak. And they say we are either in one of two states throughout our life. Either we're in a struggling state or we're in the beautiful state. And there's nothing in between. You're either at peace with what you're doing or you're either struggling. Here we go with the fear, anxiety, worry, contemplation, worry. Now, in the beautiful state, it's okay to plan ahead. It's absolutely okay to be out there planning ahead and what you're going to do with retirement and what you're going to do with your money and that's okay. But in the state of the beautiful state, we're in the oneness and we're in the moment. We're not worrying about what's happening out there. We're not worrying about what we're going to eat for dinner. Now we can plan. We're not worried about what we're eating for dinner. We're not we're not worried about whether the cat got out yesterday or if did I put the litter box back where it was supposed to be. In that beautiful state, in that oneness state, we are in the moment. We are here. We are in this room. We are safe. We are well, so to speak. Nothing's happening. So that's the state being in the cabin. Once we decide, okay, I'm worried about what's going to happen tomorrow. Do I have enough gas? I'm worried about it, not planning. I'm worried about it. Do I have enough gas to get to work? And what am I going to wear? Oh, is that skirt clean? Oh, geez. Now I have hopped off the train, walked across the distance, gotten my feet dirty and wet, worrying about something else that is going to come in our lives, like the train is going through the tunnel, going all across the desert and across. Circumstances happen. They will happen. They always do. And we cannot control what's going to come up. However, we have the power to control how we respond to it. It's going to come up. And if we're worried about what's coming up, then we jumped off the train again. We've stuck our head outside of the window. So in this state of oneness, in this state of peacefulness, in this state, beautiful state according to Eckham, And in our belief system, too, we believe in this as well as science of mind believers and followers. In this state, we can, excuse me for digging in my ear, I forgot I was on Zoom, but forgive me for my ear digging. We can address, meet, qualify for, stand up to, be protected from anything that happens in our lives. Anything. We cannot control what comes forward to greet us, but we can control with absolute power and authority how we respond to it. And that's the difference from being in the state out there with the coyotes in terms of reacting and being in a state of awareness and oneness in terms of responding. Responding. We can respond. We have a sense of responsibility. We can respond. As an aside, people have heard the word respond and they think it means blame. It does not. Responsibility and blame are two different animals, very, very different. I'm going to leave that for a trailer for another time. Okay. So now let's talk about also in that beautiful state, the purpose in our life. The purpose, as I said, the purpose in my life and hopefully in your life is getting to a point where you are in a beautiful state more than you are outside struggling and worry. The other word for that is faith. That I can step out here. If you did you any of you guys remember the Indiana Jones movie, the one where he comes to the precipice and he's running and then there's nothing there and he says, I can't go forward, there's nothing there. And she comes up and she says, if you step out, the bridge, it was brilliant. If you step out, the bridge will appear. What does that mean? There's an abyss. You can't see the bottom. There's nothing there. So he's demonstrating his faith and intention to get to the other side. He steps out and the camera pans underneath and up. And as his foot steps out, you can see the bridge just come right underneath his foot. Only as far as his faith will carry him. Only as far. So he then has to risk every time he takes a step in faith to get to the other side. And the bridge supports step by step. I don't know who wrote that, but it was just an ordained and anointed kind of movie. So we're in this idea of faith and stepping out into the nothingness where we don't see anything, but absolutely knowing and being encouraged that there is something there. We cannot see it. We cannot know what it is. We know what it is, but we cannot know what it is. But we know that it is there for us. That's being in the cabin. The train does not stop. In the cabin, it takes us into the desert. It takes us along the ocean. And as long as we stay there, we are in faith. We are in faith as long as we are there. I can't express it to you enough how powerful this is. You know, some of your friends and neighbors who want to know what's going on in every situation there on the TV and the radio, every 5 minutes checking this. You know, somebody who's on the weight, on the scales every 5 minutes trying to find out about their weight. You know, somebody who's doing things obsessively. They're off the train. They're running along the side doing something else. They've stuck their head out and it's gotten bruised or whatever else in being in the state. Now, when you're in the cabin, and some people have this idea, when you're in the cabin, you can just sit back and let things happen. No. We're not talking about you praying and getting as Reverend Jack says, a divine pass on it. You pray and then you let it be. In this state, in the cabin, you then hear your perfect response to whatever is happening in that moment. And you hear it out of God's love and not out of your fear, your frustration with what's going on. You are not interfered with, so to speak. You are not distracted for all the stuff that comes with it. Can you understand the difference? Okay. All right. So when you're there, when you're in the quiet, when you're not worried that the coyotes are going to bite your feet or get on the train, when you're in that and you're just laying back, there comes an opportunity for that still small voice to tell you exactly what you are to do. Mine usually comes in on my right side. And I can't even say it's a voice. But I interpret it because I'm human as a voice, as a hearing, and that may be different for everybody. You may get some kind of thing something somebody says on the television, and you go, "That's it." I mean, no disrespect to God, but God's got jokes. And I look up and it's so many synchronicities and so many things that just happen in such a weird kind of way. And I said, God's got jokes. And also sometimes saying no disrespect for God and our Father, but he's a blabbermouth because I'll be sitting in the audience and the minister will come up and give a sermon and it's all about me. And I'm saying, you just tell all my business all the time. Because again, we are one. So in this state, in this room, in the silence, in your calmness, in your attitude of faith, in your not worrying and being anchored, you can hear the Spirit and the voice of God telling you, leading you to the next step. And trust me, it will be the most perfect step that you will ever have. And leading you to the next step and the next. In this state, when you are quiet, you can hear God come up on you. You can feel God's eyes on you. You can feel God stroking your cheek and telling you how much you are loved. How much. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday. It doesn't matter what you did the day before. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter all those secrets you're keeping that you don't want anybody ever to know. It doesn't matter. In that cabin, in that space, is God's closeness to you, to me. And knowing, regardless of what is here, focusing your attention on here, you're missing what is right here. Let God whisper in your ear, knowing God's behind you, under your feet, over your head, and beside you. How can you possibly lose in that state, in that cabin, in that awareness? Now, you see, I'm so passionate about this. It's just, you know. So let me talk about the cabin just a little bit more. In the cabin is the big T truth. You guys know about the big T truth and the little T truth? Do you know about it? No, no, nobody knows about it. Oh, good. Okay. So, Uh, send money. No, in the big T truth, that's the truth and awareness of God. That truth never changes. God is love. We are loved. We are loved beyond measure. We are loved regardless. The little T truth we have outside the cabin sometimes is that we know the facts. But facts, guess what facts do? What do facts do? They change. I was growing up with the fact that facts were facts and they would never change. But guess what? They got a little slippery. So the little T truth is that things are changing and you can't be aware and you can't hold on and anchor to anything at any point and know that that's going to be there forever. The big T truth is about God and that God is always, always, always there. And the only way we get off of the train is that we forget that God is always there. God never changes. God is always with us. We just forget. We forget. So being back in this awareness of Ekam, they are striving to keep you focused on the awareness and on the idea that we are in God's presence. God is within our presence all the time, 24/7, 365, and sometimes 366, all the time. Never. That's the big tree truth. And the big T truth is also that the only thing that is stable is things change. That's the only thing we know. Kind of an irony in that sense. And the big T truth is that there's a God inside of each one of these finite bodies. Everyone is an infinite spirit. Quite an irony. And that this infinite spirit, even though this body may degrade and go away, this infinite spirit was never created and cannot be destroyed. Cannot. So we have in our creed, and I have just about a couple of more minutes for you. We have in our creed, one of the creeds, and I don't know if you guys know this one or not. God is the only power in my life. You guys know that one as well. And it says the same stuff that I'm talking about right now. It says God is the only power in my life. In the train. Nothing from without can touch the perfect life of God within me if I choose to be there. Heaven's optional. No past experience, nothing from behind, because God is in present moment with us, can touch the perfect life of God within me right now. It says, I take power over my life. I get up and get back on the train. I choose. I can do this. I choose. Somebody's up in your face. Oh, this one experience was so interesting. So I'm in Berkeley and I'm driving. I'm trying to find this church, and it's really obscure. And I'm trying to find a parking lot. And so I turned down this path. It's a bicycle path. And I don't have a small car. So it was obvious that this SUV was going down this bicycle path. Bicycles, I didn't see the ropes, I didn't see signs, anything. So here comes this man with his camera. I watch Storage Wars, I watch Neighborhood Wars, I watch all those on A&E, and people with cameras, that's the beginning of a bad sign. So here he's coming, he's filming me. And Spirit says, this could be really bad, but you're going to choose how you respond. Choose. Heaven is optional. Choose. So when he comes up on the passenger side and he's filming me, I roll the window down so I can talk to him. First choice. And I calm myself. And I said, yes. And he said, you know that you're on the path, on the bicycle path? And I said, well, and I was on the edge at this point of dancing and to jumping off the train and being on the train. I said, well, if I knew, and Spirit says, watch it, be careful. If I knew I would not be on the path. Being smart aleck, but keeping a voice in a level fashion. Okay. And he says, well, this is a bicycle path. You didn't see the signs? I said, I obviously did not see the signs. He said, well, this is a bicycle path. I said, thank you very much, and rolled the window back up. And maneuvered my car because the path is so narrow, you have to back up and do this and do this and this to get off the path. I didn't notice it coming in. I'm looking for a parking lot or something. So I'm backing up and he's still there, with the camera. And I just decided to sit and pray. So I just sat on the path and prayed. Finally, he put his camera down and he walked off. And the other reason was I didn't want him to see my license plate. So I sat at an angle where he couldn't see my license plate either hit it out or going in. And that was the end of that. I chose. I chose something different. I chose not to get out of the car and curse him out. I chose. Well, you're not supposed to if you're a minister anyway, but sometimes we slip, okay? I chose to be in the cabin. I chose to listen to what I was guided to do. And I directed my attention, my energy onto something different where we both could be safe. He could be in the cabin along with me, and we both could be safe. And the other thing about it, and then I'm going to close for you, is there's an idea that if you have a mathematical equation and it has a certain result, you can change any part of the equation and the result will be different. Any part. So if I'm having a problem with my neighbor and I'm saying he's a bum, he's this, he's causing all of that, I can crawl back in the cabin and say, what do I need to do, Father, to change this? And I guarantee you 100% of the time, if I change, the whole thing changes. You cannot remain the same when one of the variables is different. So we have a choice. Heaven is optional, and we are free to choose at any given moment where we go back into the sweetness of the cabin and the train, or whether we're romping around with the coyotes out in the woods. Thank you so much for letting me be with you today. I enjoy you. I love you so much. And I just bless your week and bless the time that you have moving forward until next week and whatever you're going to do. I bless your dinner and your lunch in the morning too. Thank you so much.